Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking. Right side. He wants it. A comeback. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions. How about those Chiefs?
Welcome to the Kingdom Corner here with Andrew and Dale. The Chiefs had the bye week for the first round of the playoffs, wild card weekend. We're going to recap a few of those, but we're also going to jump into the Saturday game in the divisional round where the Chiefs will be facing off against the Jaguars Saturday at the 3:30 afternoon time. So, Dale, first thoughts, how you feel about the Jaguars coming into Arrowhead?
Hey, here's my question to you.
All right.
Did the Jaguars win their Super Bowl?
Well, they got
their first home game in a long time. They won a playoff game. Is their emotions? I mean, Trevor Lawrence celebrates at the Waffle House, which I'm a big fan of. But did they win? Did they win their Super Bowl Saturday night?
Well, basically, because they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. So, yes.
But I tell you what, that Trevor Lawrence, man, he
looks like the real deal.
Yeah, he looks like the real deal. I think we're going to be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars for the foreseeable future, especially if that owner keeps pumping out money and spending on players. I mean, they get a couple more players. They're going to be a heck of a team to beat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, after the first year, I mean, they had disaster coach last year. I'm trying to remember his name now. That legendary Ohio State coach. What was his name?
Oh man, I had it.
I can see his face. Oh man, well, I'm sure it'll come to me here in a second. But anyways, they had him. No, I thought I had it for a second. It didn't come out. But anyways,
we all know. Urban.
Yeah, Urban Meyer.
There it is.
Ooh, that took a lot longer than necessary. And but we got there. So they had Urban Meyer last year. He was a disaster of a coach in the NFL. Just seemed to, from the outside looking in, seemed to just do things to sabotage his team. And maybe not necessarily sabotage, but just didn't build a lot of team chemistry. And you need that in the NFL as much as any other level. And so he's in 1 year and out, and Trevor Lawrence just looked lost most of the season. And then got Doug Peterson, the former Andy Reid assistant, former Chiefs offensive coordinator coach, now coaching with the Jaguars, and comes in there and seems to, for all we can see from the outside, looks to have turned Trevor Lawrence around and into a Pro Bowl caliber player at the minimum.
Yeah, which makes you think, kind of makes you wonder, why did he get fired in Philly?
Yeah.
I mean, really, I mean, like, he turned that program around.
I think his first year they won the Super Bowl, right? His first
year.
Nick
Foles. Nick Foles. Still, against Tom Brady. So, I mean, quite an impressive win there for sure. And so, it makes you wonder, like, why did Doug get fired from that job? But, hey, I'm sure Jacksonville, Duval County is excited to have Doug Peterson there. And he's coming to Arrowhead.
Yeah, and the Eagles are making their run this year too, so it looks like all parties kind of figured something out at least. And
there you go.
But let's recap a few of these games that happened earlier in the weekend. Initial thoughts. So we had the Saturday game to start with the Seahawks and the 49ers, and the 49ers blew them out of the water. Final score of 41-23, but at halftime, the Seahawks made it close there right at the end. At halftime, it was 17-16, and the Seahawks had the lead.
Yeah.
And then that was about all the Seahawks could do for the most part.
Right, yeah. And then, again, I'm glad Geno Smith got the opportunity. Maybe the Geno Smith experiment is over. I don't know. We'll see what the Seahawks decide to do. But, I mean, you got to think, what's Russ Wilson thinking about the Seahawks going to playoffs and at least getting in the playoffs? I mean, he's sitting at home with his feet up on the coffee table right now.
Yeah. So the 49ers, they look good, and their defense is the thing that's driving that team, no doubt. So the other NFC team, teams that played yesterday was the Giants and the Vikings, and the Giants pulled the upset against the Vikings in a score of 31-24. And I don't know about you, but honestly, that didn't surprise me that the Vikings got beat. I thought they were kind of playing with house money most of the year.
Yeah.
when they were undefeated in one-score games. And when you're undefeated that long and they're all basically one-possession games, it just means the ball's bouncing your way, and you gotta do something, because eventually the ball is going to bounce the other way, and that's what appears to have happened. Daniel Jones had a huge game against the Vikings, so Daniel Jones got himself paid.
Yes, he did. That's why I think I was listening to Cowherd on this YouTube clips, and he said we just watched one guy win the lottery.
Yeah,
basically because of that one game where he played his best game. He played in the playoffs, which is crucial. And so, who do the Giants play? Do they play the Eagles? I guess.
Yeah, I believe so. So the Eagles had the bye in the NFC, and so they'll play the Eagles, and the 49ers will play the winner of the game going on right now, the Bucks and the Cowboys. But it looks like the Cowboys are going to win that game. Unless barring a miracle, the Cowboys right now are up 31-14 with a minute 30 left in the game.
There you go. Now you told everyone our secret when we're recording this.
Oh man, I know. Sorry, I blew our cover. So those are your NFC teams. So who is your favorite coming out of the NFC to make the Super Bowl at this point?
Man, I tell you what, it sounds crazy, but it's hard to pick. Like watching the Giants game, it is hard to pick. Like if they play like that, I don't think there's going to be much of a team that could beat them. Their defense showed up. Now again, we have to take this all into consideration that they were playing Minnesota's defense, and Minnesota's defense is not good.
Right.
I'm sorry, Minnesota fans. I have a friend that's a big Minnesota fan. So this pains me to say. I think I texted him earlier this year and I said, "Hey, your Vikings are fool's gold." And
there you go.
That made me.
I'm sure he loved that.
As soon as I sent that text, I felt horrible, but it's true. I think they're fool's gold, and I think it proved out. Like these one-score games, like you just alluded to, was the fact that the balls just bounced your way. To have 11 games won within one score is incredible and never been done in NFL history. And so,
well, and keep this in mind too: the Vikings were the number 2 seed going into the playoffs, and they had a negative point differential. I mean, how many teams go into the playoffs as the number 2 seed and your opponents has outscored you for the entirety of the regular season?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. So I would say, but my heart and my gut say the 49ers would be the team to go with.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the 49ers is my pick out of the NFC, barring Jalen Hurts coming back and playing 100%. Because him playing 100%, the Eagles they have so many weapons right now.
Right.
Defense plays well. They are a very underrated defense, and their offense with Jalen Hurts is moving the ball quite effectively. They were one of the top scoring offenses in the NFL this year. So if Jalen Hurts comes back and plays healthy, which at this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Definitely with that. Could.
Yeah, he could. So he had a week off, with the bye, having the first seed, but man, the 49ers look really good. But we were talking about this earlier with Brock Purdy with the 49ers, that rookie, he's looked good, but I think eventually he's going to run to a defense that schemes him up, and it's going to make him. Yeah, it's going to make him look like a rookie.
It's going to confuse him. But I also think that Kyle Shanahan is such a great coach.
Yes.
And I think he can make you and I NFL quarterbacks.
That's right. I mean, all of our.
I know we love football. We dream about playing the football, but I really think Kyle Shanahan could tell us if he was in our ear, in our helmet. I think he'd tell us when to throw, where to throw it, and I think we would win a game or two.
Yeah.
So
I mean, all of our passes would be within 5 yards, but we'd still get it.
So, oh yeah, like hey, don't.
We're not the players that are going to be chunking it 70 yards down the field. That's for sure.
No.
So
no.
Yeah, well, let's look at the AFC side. So first off, the Chargers and Jaguars, which was, I think, the most intriguing game on the AFC side in the wild card weekend, even before the game started. Many people were picking the Chargers for the upset, and many even expected the Chargers to win that game. But as we know, the Jaguars came back to win that game 31-30. At halftime, it was 27-7, but the Chargers were up 27-0 at one point, and then second half, they pulled a game out like the Chiefs did against the Bengals in the playoffs last year.
Man.
That
hurts.
It does hurt. It does hurt.
That
but
hurts.
You know what? We've heard so much from these Chargers fans over the years that, we can't finish games, but the Chargers, the curse of the Chargers came back again. That's been the thing that's been the knock against them for the past several years is that they can't win close games. And they've lost many one-score games over the past several years, and it just came back down to that again. They couldn't play defense. They only put up 3 points in the second half. If you don't play defense, if you don't play defense, only put up 3 points in any half of a playoff game, you're not going to win that game.
Yeah, ask Pat Mahomes last year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was just chalking it up. We're playing the Chargers next week. That's what I thought. I mean, when it was 27-0, I was like, okay, well, I guess we're playing the Chargers. Here we go. My worst nightmare is coming true because to play a team like that 3 times in a row or 3 times in 1 year is tough. And so, I mean, the Chargers are good, no doubt. But for Jacksonville to come back, and I just wonder, we kind of talked about this off air, I guess. Off air.
That's right. We're on air people now. So
yeah, that's right. Where like did the Jaguars win their Super Bowl? Did they like so emotional, like coming back, defeating that, winning a home playoff game? Is that like, man? Yeah. That's a lot of emotion running through the old body.
It is. And I mean, credit to the Jaguars. They played excellent this last month or so. They've been playing really well. Since the Chiefs lost, they've only lost one other game for the remainder of the regular season. And now they've won a playoff game. It was against the Lions. It was against the Lions.
There we go. We go.
And they got blown out. I think it was like 40-14, something like that. And but the Lions have done that to many people this year, in a surprise fashion. They almost pulled the upset against the Bills. So the Lions are not just a knockoff team anymore. If they continue in that trend, they will continue to be a team that you have to take seriously every week. So, but really in the NFL, you got to take every team seriously. And we talked about this in our last episode too, that the Chargers was one of the teams that we wanted to least face in the playoffs, the ones that made us the most nervous.
Oh yeah.
Because the division rival, it's a team that always plays us close. And so thank you, Jaguars, for that win against the Chargers, because I did not want to see them in the playoffs.
Yeah, not that the Jaguars are going to be a cakewalk. I think when we played them week 13, they are a totally different team to week 20. Oh,
pretty much.
Yeah, week 20. Yeah.
So when we play next, it'd basically be week 20. So second round of the playoffs here. Yeah. So the other AFC games was the Bills versus the Dolphins. The Bills won that game, and the Bengals against the Ravens, and the Ravens pulled that one out.
Well, let's say the Bills barely pulled it out too. I mean, goodness.
They were both one possession games. One was by 7 and one was by 3. And I think either one of those teams could have lost to their opponent that game. And they're playing against teams in the Dolphins and the Ravens who didn't have their starting quarterback, and they still almost pulled out the upset against those teams.
Yeah, both those teams, right? They were on the second string with the Ravens and the third string with the Dolphins.
Yep,
and so,
exactly.
I mean, my goodness, and they struggled mightily. I mean, Josh Allen, let's just talk about the Bills for real quick. Josh Allen turning the ball over, defense not making stops. I mean, that was a close game. Yeah. And again, we understand that division opponents are hard to play against because they know you, they prepare for you, they actually draft for you. And so, I mean, that we had to take that consideration. But you would think a third string quarterback you wouldn't have any trouble with. But
you wouldn't think so.
That was not the case, was it?
It was not. So, and Josh Allen for the past month or so has, to his greatness, as people have thrown his way, he has been on a streak of turning the ball over quite frequently over the last month or so. And that continued against the Dolphins. He had 2 interceptions and 1 lost fumble. And it's because of that the Dolphins were able to hang in the game. And if he does that against any team, and you can say the same for the Bengals too, they had some costly turnovers as well. If either one of those teams continues those kind of turnovers, they're not going to beat much of anybody else. So, so the That means the Bills and the Bengals will be playing on Sunday this next week, and the Chiefs will face off against the Jaguars. So
let's just neutral field. Is that a neutral field sign?
It is not. It really.
I wonder why. Why wouldn't it be?
You know what? We've talked about this a lot, and let's just throw it on out there for people to join in on our thoughts. The NFL wants the Bills to win a Super Bowl so badly. They do. They want them to. Bad. They changed. We're not going to get into this too much right here because we don't have time for that. But they changed an overtime rule for the Bengals for the Bills that benefit the Bills that the Chiefs did not get after they were the losing end of that same rule.
Well, that was like 20 years ago, right? That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, last year. Actually, I guess it was
2 years before.
I guess against the Patriots, so that was about 3 years ago. So I think it's 2018. So,
but the Bills voted for the rule change, though, right? Exactly.
But you know what? You would sure think so, but they did not. They did not.
Oh, so when the Chiefs brought this to the committee, they didn't vote for it. Okay.
You are correct. The Chiefs were the only team that voted for it. And now that the Bills were on the wrong losing end of it, they decided, you know what? We do want that rule change. So now both teams get a possession in the NFL playoffs guaranteed no matter what happens, even if the other team scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden the Bills don't have to play on a neutral field against the Bengals. However, if the Bills happen to win and the Chiefs happen to win, and we're not going to dive into that much because we don't want to jinx anything, and we're not superstitious, we're just a little stitious, right? So right. And so if they happen to play each other, the Chiefs and Bills, that happens to be at a neutral site, even though percentage-wise the Chiefs have a better record.
But they didn't have that. They didn't have that in the rule books before, did they?
You would think they would, Dale. You would think they would, but
wait, they do have that in the rule books. Percentage.
The win percentage is in there, and they decided to change the rule mid-season, mind you, not even mid-season, late season, to benefit the Bills. That's what that comes down to. So, anyways,
again, we are glad DeMar Hamlin is doing a lot better. Yes, in fact, he was in the building. We don't want to take anything away from that, but the fact is,
absolutely not.
It seems like a lot of times the rules get changed to benefit the Bills, and so
it sure does seem that way.
I mean, you make your own call. You make your own call.
Yeah,
that's what
make your own call.
Make your own call.
I will say
that's fine.
I will say if we happen to get Sheffers as a referee in any of these last playoff games, they for sure do not want the Chiefs to win because Sheffers has been the Chiefs' demise as a NFL referee calling crazy things. But anyways, I digress. So the Bills and the Bengals, we're not going to get too much into that game because this isn't a Bills or Bengals podcast. But who do you think wins that game?
What time do they play?
It's a great question, my friend. They play Sunday at 2:00 p.m. Central Time.
Oh, so that actually kind of benefits the Chiefs because they play Saturday. Yeah, right. So that actually kind of benefits. For the first time, the Chiefs got a little benefit.
You know what's crazy? They should do this every year. The one seeds play on Saturday and the other ones play on Sunday.
Yeah, they should do that.
They should do that every year, but this is the first year in at least 2 years. I know the previous 2 years for sure. The Chiefs played that game on Sunday, so not sure.
Okay, so what the difference is. Who do I think wins? My gut tells me the Bengals are going to win.
Yeah,
but also it makes me nervous because I think as of today they were unsure, and I don't know if they've come out with anything. But one of their offensive linemen three of their offensive linemen for the Bengals may be out for that game, and that would be a huge loss.
Yeah, right now Vegas has the Bills. They opened as a 4-point favorite, and now they're a 5-point favorite. And I'm assuming that's after the money news. Yeah, well, because the money, I'm assuming also after the news of that left tackle being out.
Oh, he is out for sure. Okay,
well, I don't know that he's out for sure, but I'm wondering if they changed the line because of it, and don't know. So I don't think anything's been decided for sure on that left tackle, but the line has changed from 4 points to 5 points in favor of the Bills. So I've gone back and forth. I think either one of these teams could win, but I think the Bengals will win unless they have some meltdowns and turnovers, simply because the Bills have not been playing their best football over the last month or so. and the Bengals have been. Minus these 2 playoff games, neither team looked great in the playoff games in their first round, but just given the last month or so, I think the Bengals are the better team at this point. So, but let's jump into the Chiefs and Jaguars game, the game that we really care about. So that's Saturday at 3:30. The Chiefs have opened as an 8.5-point favorite. I mean,
unreal.
For a playoff game, that is huge. And here's my question: is that too big of a line to open as a playoff game? Especially, this isn't even the wild card round. We're the second round in the divisional round. I feel like that's too big of a line.
There's a couple things.
I'm not saying, and I'm not even saying the Chiefs can't cover that, but I'm just saying that's a big line to open as for a playoff game.
So the last time the Chiefs played, Week 13, the Jaguars, they beat them by 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have they changed that much would be the question. And we're getting Tony, and we're getting, maybe Nicole Hardman's going to be out in the field, so like there's like definitely a lot of upside to the Chiefs. But so I mean, 8.5 sounds like a lot of points for a divisional round. But I think that shows a little respect towards the Chiefs for the first time. Maybe Vegas actually giving respect to the Chiefs and saying, hey, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. And Andy Reid off a bye is unbelievable. I think, if you remember, we didn't look this up because we're bad podcasters. But I think he's
if you're listening, we're great podcasters.
Yeah. But I think he's 23-3 off a bye. And so something like that. Somewhere around that. And so Andy Reid is basically undefeated off a bye. And so he's got his bye, and here we go. I don't think it's that big. And we got the Arrowhead Stadium factor, right?
Yeah.
The loudness. Sure, Trevor Lawrence has won in high school. Sure, Trevor Lawrence has won a national championship. But has he played a playoff game in Arrowhead Stadium?
No, he has not. No, he has not. He's got one playoff game under his belt, and he was losing 27-0, and won because of the falling apart crash of the Los Angeles Chargers. So,
well, I mean, what did they have? 5 turnovers in that game?
Yeah, the Jaguars had 5 turnovers, and I even asked you at that point: has a team ever won a playoff game committing or being -5 in the turnover margin in one game? I mean,
there's no way.
I feel like no other team's ever been able to accomplish that. I think if they turn the ball over 4 times against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs do it none, I don't think the game's going to be close.
Well, it's funny you say that, because do you know how many turnovers the Chiefs had against the Jaguars?
I'm guessing now that I said that, probably 4.
They had 3.
All right.
And they had 3 less possessions.
So even
Jaguars,
with 3 turnovers and 3 less possessions, we still won by 10.
Yes.
Well, and I will point out that is good. It makes me feel good about the Chiefs, but the Jaguars are a much different team than we were when we first played them. The Jaguars are on a hot streak for the past month or so. They've been playing football like it depended on it, because it did, and they snuck into the playoffs, won their division, which is pretty
bad.
It's not
the worst.
It's probably the worst division in the AFC. For sure, which is why they're the 4 seed. But
or the NFC, right? Because wasn't Houston and the Colts playing for the weren't the Houston and Colts playing for the 1 seed or first draft pick?
The NFC South is pretty awful too, though.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay, all right.
Those two toss up. Those two are competing against each other. The South divisions.
Let's flip a coin.
Yeah, probably be as much.
The NFL would like that, right? The NFL would like that. We flipped a coin to see who's the worst division.
They would. So that's how they determined the Bengals' first playoff game. There was a coin flip to figure out who got home field advantage against the Ravens. So that's crazy. Yeah. So here's my big question for you.
Okay.
So Bill Belichick's been a big coach for this kind of strategy, and his strategy has always been, I'm going to take away your best player and force you to try to beat me with somebody else.
Yeah.
And so if you were playing that kind of mindset, who do the Chiefs have to stop for the Jaguars in order to beat them?
Yeah, you asked me,
try?
You asked me this off air and give me a little prep. And so I've been thinking about it. I think it's ETM.
All right.
I think if you take the run game away, I think that takes away the play action. I think our corners, this sounds crazy for a Chiefs fan. I think our corners are good enough to cover their wide receivers and tight end.
Yeah, they I would say my person is their tight end, Evan Ingram.
Okay.
I think they have to stop him. I think that is Trevor Lawrence's biggest safety blanket is Ingram. And he's also their biggest receiver. They don't have a massive, 6'8" receiver in their wide receiver room. I'm not no disrespect to any of those wide receivers. They're in the NFL.
None.
But I think their biggest weapon on the passing game is Evan Ingram, and the Chiefs have to stop him. And I think with how the Chiefs, hopefully the Chiefs defense will continue playing like they have been the past few weeks. But if they do, the Chiefs defense has been stepping up against the run the past couple of weeks. So hopefully that can continue in the playoffs and we continue to get pressure on the quarterback, make Trevor Lawrence move from his spot and then make him start rushing a few of those throws and hopefully force a few of those interceptions like he had in his last game.
Yeah. And I think Pacheco, he may be a guy.
Yeah.
And then Andy Reid is doing Andy Reid stuff, bringing in Jones. And so, I mean, I think which has to make every defensive coordinator and head coach think why is he playing Jones now? And what does that mean for next week? And just making them think. And so, and then if they get McCole Hardman back, I mean, I think the whole, and then I don't think we even talked about the snow globe that they did against the Raiders there. And so, I mean, it's just
the play that didn't count, but should have counted because they called a hold when it was just a pancake block is all it was.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I think Andy Reid and the playoffs, I feel pretty good.
Well, that's
pretty good.
That's good. So as far as the Chiefs go, is there anybody on the Chiefs that has to step up their game for their matchup against the Jaguars?
No, I think it's Pacheco. I know he's been playing well, but again, he's a rookie, his first time, and I think he has to, when he gets the ball handed to him, he has to get 3-4 yards every carry. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I don't think it's that much. And I think he just needs to make sure he's getting positive yards, especially if they run him first down. Get that positive yards and keep him moving. Especially if we have a lead. I think that's what will kill us against Cincinnati. We didn't have that running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he might be in witness protection now. But
could be. You never know.
But I think when we were trying to run the ball, I mean, we changed our game plan. We just need a guy that can run, that can get us a couple first downs and a punt maybe, and just take some time off the clock.
Yeah. Well, I would say what the Chiefs really need, who they need to step up, I'm going to say their tackles. The Jaguars, as I point out before, they have some great guys on their defensive line, including Josh Allen, not the Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, but the other Josh Allen. And you can make your own thoughts about those two Josh Allens, but I'll just say one of them is probably better than the other. It's probably not the one you think. But either way, they got a Josh Allen on that defensive front who is a beast of a man. And the Chiefs tackles have got to step up and have to protect Mahomes from that. So if they can keep Mahomes clean, I think that's going to make a huge difference in the game. So, and it always does, but when you have a great pass rusher and a great defensive front like the Jaguars do, your offensive line comes into play huge. Yeah. So what's your score prediction for this game on Saturday against the Jaguars?
So I feel like this is like the 49ers game where there's a statement game, right? A statement game to the rest of the league. So I'm going to say 41-20.
All right, 41-20. So like we said before, the Chiefs are favored by 8.5 points. The total over-under is 52 points. So you would be over in that. So 41-20. I'm going to say Chiefs 38.
Okay.
And I think the Jaguars will be at 24. So
38-20. So you still cover.
They're still covering, but maybe not as big of a margin as you have. So 38-24 is what I'm going with.
I just feel let's see. I'm looking at right now. It's going to be 50 degrees on Sunday or Saturday. So the weather's not going to be a factor. It's going to be partly cloudy. It's going to be perfect.
Sounds good.
41, 21.
All right.
20? Yeah.
Yeah, 41-20 is what you said. So
okay, you're gonna hold me to it. I can feel that. I feel it, Andrew. You're gonna hold it to me towards that one. Yeah.
I'm all about accountability here. All about accountability. So I'll stick with my 38-24. So follow us on Twitter too at the Kingdom Corner. Actually, it's just Kingdom Corner on Twitter. So we'll be probably posting some tweets live from the game this Saturday. Maybe some photos and videos. So it'll be good. Make sure you're following us there. If we remember, we might do Facebook, but Twitter is where all the magic happens as far as podcast goes. So Twitter is where you want to find us at the Kingdom Corner. So thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We will be excited to watch this playoff game on Saturday against the Jaguars at 3:30 in the divisional round. We're hoping for a Chiefs victory and hoping the Chiefs can continue this run and hopefully make us very happy fans by the end of the season. But we're not going to say much else on that because once again, we're not superstitious. We're just a little stitious. So we'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.